Welcome back to the LCS playoffs. These teams split 1-1 in the regular season, and CLG have taken game 1 in this best-of-5 elimination if you lose here. If you win on Sunday, you fight for a spot at Worlds and a spot in the LCS Championship.
Such a long road ahead for either one of these teams if they want to win the LCS Championship, but such an amazing first game by CLG. They countered the Seraphine, which had been dominating playoffs so hard in game 1 that they've now actually just drawn a red side Seraphine ban from TL here in game 2.
They do not want to give it up to CLG. They have to be careful of picking so many melees. I think that was the real critical problem, was a bunch of melees into all of this AoE.
Yeah.
So whichever team shows, if you show too early on a hard commitment like that, the counters will definitely be here. But CLG, of course, blue side this time around. And so they, again, target the Draven from Hansama. That's the only thing they feel like they have to take out of this bottom lane, that aggressive look. And we will be left with, again, the Zeri plus Sivir possible trade here. Azir was left up the entire time.
Yeah.
Last game as well. Right. Not picked or banned. It's one of the most popular blind picks right now, but saving for those counter picks.
Yone also left unbanned. I don't expect it to be a first pick, but it's the first time in the last 6 games that it's been available for CLG to pick.
Both their solo laners love playing the champion.
Yeah.
Both of them are well adept at it, so it is also a flex pick, and you can get it a little earlier in the draft than a lot of other teams.
For sure. Of course, TL electing red side here. Want to point that out. That was important for them. When they went the regular season, actually, it was CLG on blue both times. They went 1-1. So interestingly, This is actually the first time these teams have fought in summer with CLG on red. Now back to the 1-1 line. Sivir is the first pick, by the way. CLG taking it above everything else.
And I also do like this just because it doesn't seem like Hansama wants to play Zeri based on Team Liquid's drafting patterns. So taking the Sivir side of the Sivir-Zeri handshake is very wise.
And I'm very, very curious about the Yuumi pickup as well, because most teams vastly prefer Yuumi as the #1 enchanter support. And it's kind of dropping through the extra priority here. I feel like if Team Liquid don't pick it up, Lulu up as well for CLG if they want to combine it here, but the blind pick Sejuani, this is a flex pick, of course. Santorin can't play it in the jungle. We have seen a lot top lane in North America, but especially in LPL, LCK.
I was going to bring up, though it's obviously not going to happen here, I was going to posit Lucian Nami as a possibility. It is his second most played here, 3-1 on the champion. It's actually really hard to spell shield Lucian Clue. Like, you kind of can, but it's tough. And that lane can work pretty well against a short-range champion like Sivir, but with Yuumi, that's not the lane.
Yeah, feels so hard to give up a Yuumi to the other team. Back to CLG on secondary pick there.
Sure.
Frustrating, so I do like that Team Liquid pick it up here first. Grab that security for themselves. The ultimate is just so good for these engages.
Of course.
I can understand it, though, and the fact that CoreJJ really hasn't played that much Yuumi on stage. He is generally known as the initiator. In fact, in the 100 Thieves series, he was on Enchanters in games 1 and 2, which they got blasted by 100 Thieves in, but found his footing on Engagers. So now, going back to an Enchanter, like CLG is very okay with that trade.
Yeah, I mean, CoreJJ only has the one Yuumi game in all of summer so far.
Yeah, he was 2-0 on it coming into this split, but yeah, 0-1 on the champion so far, and somebody's mentioning Kobe, so definitely not one he has played a lot of. I mean, Core has as many Kog'Maw games as Yuumi games in his career. It's like a random aside. Back when he was an AD carry way long ago. See what happens here. Poppy is through, of course, premier jungler, decent engagements into the Zeri and Sejuani as well.
Yeah, and Contractz specifically has used this, in summer very, very effectively in earning him that most improved player award. See, as we whittle down on those solo lanes though, baby. Top lane bans should be coming out here. Try and protect possible top lane Sejuani. Bwipo gonna have some issues here with Dhokla, and everybody's thinking about the Aatrox again. What are you actually gonna do about this problem? Because the Aatrox is unbanned now. I'd be kind of surprised if Team Liquid let it through the secondary bans.
Yeah, well, I think one very important thing to ban out is the Yone, because it's a good flex pick they can take on 4-5. And I think a very important ban for CLG is Zilean. You never want to give Bjergsen a Zilean angle late in draft. And if they can combo Zilean with Yuumi Zeri as well as a melee jungler with the Sejuani top lane, it would make them very strong in team fights.
Well, seeing Olaf killed here as well. TL need to pick one champion. CLG answers that lane. And then has to blind pick the other one there. So TL gets one counter pick, CLG ostensibly gets one as well.
Yeah, I always like that ban whenever you're looking at an early Yuumi. The Olaf just pairs with it too well.
Sure.
So banned again. It would happen last game as well. Team Luger banned it against.
And also knowing that the Sejuani is a flex pick, that the Aatrox is still a choice for CLG, and Olaf was the thing that Bwipo did best against Aatrox in their 100 Thieves series.
Yeah, had some regret there as well. Some hit, some miss. One final bound to go for CLG. Can they get the 2-0 lead in the series? Or does TL bounce back as they did against FlyQuest, where yeah, they lost game 1 and then ran the table in the opening weekend for them. Aatrox going to be gone on the CLG side, thinking that TL is going to grab it.
100 Thieves did the same thing too, and they lost that game. Put it on Bwipo or let him try and counter it would be my opinion.
There you move for the backline though. TL, as long as they have any other source of damage, I feel like they're going to have plenty. Frontlaner looks decent on a Sejuani. CLG had to have a big tank there. Poppy's not going to be enough by herself, I feel like. Back to the Sylas here. They're loving this pick here for Bjergsen.
The shout out from CLG.
Oh, I love it. So I actually do love that hover because they're saying, yes, we did not ban Zillion because we were fine with you playing it, rather than just pretending to forget about it.
And Palafox, again, he's so aggressive as a mid laner. He actually thrives in melee mid matchups. Assassin gameplay, even Sylas itself. So I know he actually feels really confident going here versus Bjergsen, and they lock in the Taliyah Renekton. Such a great combination here. Even when it does come from mid lane, Taliyah combining with Renekton, that stun, you can make those roams up there with the wall, stun into shove backwards is so powerful. And Poppy charge is actually a really good combination with Taliyah, because if you put down the stones, your E, you can actually Poppy charge them, force them to dash across those stones.
Ooh.
They will explode.
Sett through into the Renekton. I don't think it's likely. It is possible we could see Renekton mid, Taliyah jungle with Poppy top. We have seen those champions in those roles earlier this year. Unlikely, but want to leave it as a possibility. But I like Bwipo Sett. He's been very good at the champion. Had some true carry performances, and here up against Renekton could look good.
I am actually surprised that Bwipo didn't just want to have the Sejuani into the Renekton. It's a hard matchup early, but he was solo killing Renektons as Sejuani this split. So putting it down into Santorin means he also enjoys the Sett matchup, and as you said, has carried some games with it before.
All right, we'll see if Santorin can channel his inner peanut. Having a lot of success on that as well. And Team Liquid, as a team, can they turn this around? This time, they get themselves the Zeri Yuumi.
Gonna be fun. What comes through to this game here? Final comments from the coaching staff of the split, CLG, who stepped up so well. A 4th place seed in the playoffs. You can consider an upset loss to Cloud9 in their early round. Of course, 4-5 seed, obviously a pretty close battle, but here, 4th and 3rd seed up against Team Liquid Honda. 1-0 in the series. Does TL bounce back as they had in the previous 2 rounds of playoffs? But does CLG keep the momentum up? We're getting into the Rift very, very shortly. Elimination, and then a single best of 5 to qualify for championship weekend. Single best of 5, you clear this one out to qualify for the World Championship. Will it happen? Does TL bounce back here to go to game 3? Does CLG come out to the 2-0 start? Let's find out. We are on to the Rift. Who's it gonna be in game 2?
I always get so invested in these games. Like, you watch the entire Summer Split regular season, and it's entertaining because it's League of Legends, but the stakes are just so much higher in these matchups. The next 4 games, or fewer, will actually end the year for one of these teams.
Yes, there's just so much pressure, especially when you're as dedicated as the players on these teams. You know, every waking hour practicing for just this moment, this big run. Funnily enough, too, I was talking to Palafox in the morning when we were coming in the morning, and I asked him specifically about Taliyah because I had just been watching the other regions, and Taliyah super prominent, but kind of dropped off from most of the other mid laners in the LCS. And he was just like, yeah, all the other mid laners in the LCS don't pick Taliyah. They're just bad at it.
Well, Palafox been pretty good at it, honestly. Some good walls here from CLG. But speaking of CLG, Tigers is standing by with their head coach, ThinkCard. Let's join him.
And what a start to the series with the CLG victory. What were the biggest takeaways from game 1 going into game 2?
I just think we played pretty well around our timers, and we respected theirs a lot. Dhokla had a really good 1v2 early, so that really set the tone, and then we just kept the snowball going.
So much conversation around that top side, bringing in the Renekton and the Taliyah here as well. Tell me a little bit about this matchup.
Yeah, so we have a lot of setup. Sett is kind of a Bwipo special, so hopefully we're able to get by like the early laning, and then the later it goes in lane, the better it gets for Renekton, as long as he's not like behind off like level 1.
All right, let's see how that early laning goes. Back to the game.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting matchup. One of the funny things is that since they added shield breaking to Renekton's Empower W, people often think, oh yeah, it's just gonna be like a super hard counter to the champion early, but a lot of times you have to use your stun earlier in the trades, and it's kind of hard to save your rage and your W to be able to actually break the shield later on, but it can be devastating as far as bursting the champion down. It's Santorin coming up early.
Yeah.
All right, round 2 of the 2v1. Let's
No
see.
words.
This
No
is not.
words.
This is not a tower dive.
Yeah,
Here we go. Is it enough there? Bwipo, pretty low, finds the stun. Couple of shots come in. Flashes, gets away, but he's slowed. Yeah. He's stunned. They're gonna have the damage, and they want to hand the kill to Bwipo. He'll get it eventually. 400 gold, first blood, Team Liquid.
huge play by Santorin there. That's a classic. Clear one side of your jungle and gank right away.
This is why in the last game I asked, what did Dhokla do to Team Liquid? Because at the beginning of both games, and throughout the entire game 1, they're spamming ganks up at him. This time around, it does work out. They make good on the early game. Contractz, though, as you can see on the screen, number 1, like basics of jungling. You see your opponent jungler make the play topside for one of those early ganks, it had better cost them, or your top laner is going to be really mad.
Contractz only gets 1 camp. I mean, he'll get Scuttle as well, which is pretty valuable. Looks like, yeah, Smite Q. Second Q misses, but he's going to be fine. He's going to get it no problem. Buckler comes in, grabs it. So a blue buff steal. Less valuable than a Renekton, to be clear, but at least something done. Wants to go mid. No, the shove back's really good. Bjergsen has to burn his flash to get away.
Nice play there by Contractz, just crossing through towards the double scuttle as well as a full clear of his blue side. So he'll definitely be ahead of Santorin in experience. And now that Santorin also has to go down bot side, Dhokla has temporarily recovered in that lane. Like, the first blood doesn't do much at the moment because the first major item completions haven't come through.
Yeah, I love this ward as well from top laners. Dhokla taking his time on his move to push in. You get your 30 seconds from pushing the minion wave in. Go get that deep ward to look for second spawn of Krugs. And Santorin, there's only one area to go to because of the counter jungle. Has to go over to second spawn here of Raptors.
Nice little trading there. I like the Whimsy to go in for it. Ignite is on. Poome is dangerously low, but he will slink away, stays alive. Of course, it's cleansing the AD carry. Cannot support him anyway. Health bar is low, but Yuumi can heal.
3 summoner spells for 1. Just the ignite spent by Poome. But yes, he is very low. Will not be able to sustain still. A powerful trade there by Luger and Poome.
Up along, up a cloth armor. Bwipo gonna probably do much better in this fight. Yeah, you can see Dhokla 300. The sustain is okay on this champion. With both junglers here, I feel like Bwipo has too many stats for this 2v2 to go CLG's way, but it is going toward Dhokla. And now information is going to be seen. Contractz can get away if he needs to, but goes for the attack, goes for a trade. And knows he can probably run away from this one. The slow's not going to be enough. Knows Santorin can't keep up.
Yeah, phase rush, you know you can always go in for these cheeky little trades. It's actually one of the most fun runes, especially on junglers, because you can go for those quick little procs. And even with the second half of the W hitting, your slow resistance is too high, can walk away. Does screen enough for big dokes up there, though. Bwipo's still crashing the wave, so that's what they wanted. That's the goal.
Yeah, I think the volatility of that matchup as well is just drawing junglers up there for sure. One interesting thing I noted before playoffs was, oh, we got a game coming in mid.
2v2 flash to the tackle. The shove back is going to land. And without flash, Bjergsen can only heal himself a little bit. But it's enough. They knock out Contractz. Santorin is there in time. 2-0 Team Liquid.
It's well set up, but they don't have the damage to burst the Sylas. Bjergsen heals up too much with the Kingslayer. And Team Liquid 2-0 in game number 2, trying to bounce right back. Remember, they did lose the opening game of all of their series so far in playoffs.
Lost their first game in FlyQuest, lost their first 2 against 100 Thieves. And yes, watching this one more time, you can see everything surprised Bjergsen, so to speak. They land the E, they land the Q, they get all the damage from Taliyah. Phreak, what they missed.
He threw empowered Q. He walked left onto worked ground and didn't get a 5-shot Q out. It would have killed. I'm pretty sure 4 more rocks would have killed Bjergsen. It would have been close at least.
So slight mis-execution for sure. Gold staying very close in this game though, even with the CLG solo laners both having kills go over to their lane opponents. Bjergsen and Bwipo both sitting at 1-0.
Close game, though. I mean, 2 kills and a 200 gold lead. Like, those kills are worth 1,000.
Yeah.
When you count the assist money as well. So CLG farming very well. You can see 18 CS lead for the mid lane, 3 camps for Contractz. Bot lane at least pretty close, but it is still a tight game, regardless of the KDAs.
All right. Can they actually get the push first there? Because Taliyah ultimate used by Palafox still has his flash and ignite. You know, the idea, the setup there was there from CLG. Contractz camping around, waiting for the counter jungle, or for the counter gank, because they're expecting it from Santorin, just disappearing off the top quadrant of the map. And Bjergsen still without that flash, but unable to finish it all off.
Back on they go to the turret. It's pretty hard to clear turret plates against the Sivir. She'll splash you with the ricochet in the first place to take a Q, and you know, you get half a plate or something, but you take a couple hundred damage back for it. Just fighting for the cannon.
No
grabs it before he walks away. Good job, Dhokla.
No ult on Dhokla. He'd burned it earlier to push out the wave. And Kobe, to maybe answer your question, like, what did Dhokla do?
It's a joke question of what did he do to them outside of the game to deserve all this.
I have
all
like
this
maybe
focus,
a real answer. Maybe.
Okay.
It doesn't have anything to do with Dhokla. It has much more to do with Team Liquid.
Okay.
Bwipo was the only top laner of any team to qualify for playoffs who actually led his team in damage percentage. So I think when Bwipo does well, Team Liquid does win. So there's a chance they actually just have a higher incentive to try and get him ahead of the
Okay,
game.
but what did he do? Polymorph cleanses flashes. Really nice at a Poome again, the offensive whimsy. Forcing Hans away, flash kill to get the follow. Core will survive out of the tower, but a kill. Straight up 2-on-2.
Fight.
CLG bot diff. But a Herald claimed by Team Liquid.
Yeah, the solo lanes plus jungle here for Team Liquid are what is finding them success here in game number 2. Bottom lane for CLG, some big plays there as Poome goes in, and he actually got the kill credit as well for that one. But Team Liquid very happy to keep snowballing this top triangle of the map and get that Rift Rail.
I mean, we talked about rising stars. Like, you come into this split, you see Dhokla, you see Bwipo. Who do you think is automatically better? You see Luger, you see Hansama. Who do you think is automatically better? You see Poome and you see CoreJJ. Who do you think is automatically better? And in this series, Dhokla has outperformed Bwipo. Luger and Poome have outperformed Hans and CoreJJ. They are playing so well in this series. Yes, it's a close game, but it's cool to see the next gen of NA talent do so well here.
And CLG's been defying expectations really the whole split. Watching this one more time, you can just see CLG knows this trade better. They land the boomerang right off the bat. Hansama immediately has to run away. He's not even close to being able to return fire. Actually steps back for some poke, but Poome, he knows he has lethal damage if he just walks in and flashes. So Luger's flash ends up being completely unnecessary. Huge miscalculation there by Hansama.
Yeah, the ignite not going to get reduced by that exhaust, and he's got the juice.
Oh, gets enough for the wall to get away. I mean, if he wasn't close to that one, that was probably enough with the slow to kill him.
And Phreak, you were talking about this earlier in terms of all pro voting and just the way people see these teams. CLG had one less win than Team Liquid throughout the entire summer split.
Yep.
They went 1-1 against them in the regular season. Got a gank bot.
And 4 fewer people in all pro. Guess what?
Oh, nice block.
That was sick by Luger. Walks in, tanks it, but the root is still there. Santorin is absolutely everywhere. Gets a kill in every single lane.
Yeah, cool story, bro. Team Liquid going ahead. Gank on bottom, baby. Santorin charges through. Team Liquid are off to the races. Zeri is going to get fed now. Turret plates for Hansama, plus the Rift Trail used for Hansama. This is going to be Team Liquid, the ones with the fed Zeri, Yuumi.
That's exactly how you want to pay off your strong top side into your Zeri Yuumi bot lane. It is a very popular team composition. 3 strong topsiders.
Oh, they're
and
gonna
then
fight it.
Zeri plus Enchanter. They try and bite off a little bit more. Kill, Rift Herald, and Dragon. They don't quite have time for all 3.
And CLG able to walk over and start this one. Contractz looks like he's completely safe. Hansama took enough damage. I think he took a turret shot maybe, or at least a double boomerang blade, and is off entirely. So it will be CLG getting a moderately timed first Drake. This one, of course, scales very sharply. And Poome is just going to try to keep stopping the Hansama recall. Doesn't have his own flash. He's like, the Lulu of death. I'm 1v2. It's chill. Luger's near enough by. Your turret doesn't help you very much right now. Still getting damage across. I mean, Hansama is just pushed out for an HP. Contractz on a flash. He gets him out of the wall. Poome is just a magician. And now on the top side, a flash to get a bit more done. Bwipo is burning. Dhokla kills him off. CLG now with the gold lead.
Lulu is inside their heads. Oh my goodness. Poome taunts them. A Contractz comes up, flashes over the wall as the Poppy. CLG win both sides of the map. Team Liquid, though, trying to answer. Bjergsen thinks he has it, but Contractz is in the shadows.
Dhokla has big Q and big stun, though he's got a lot of tools to deal with Bjergsen.
Yeah.
Renekton ulti stolen, not gonna matter. Palafox was not revealed by the sweeper, but Bjergsen says I'd rather get the wave. It's guaranteed 200 gold. There's a chance the fight goes wrong and hops out.
And after everything that has happened in the first 12 minutes, first blood going to Bwipo, Bjergsen turning the mid lane fight, Team Liquid is down in gold and down a dragon. So CLG just bounced back in such a huge way with that sequence.
Yeah, you guys hit the nail on the head there, talking about them getting a little bit too greedy, you know, wanting a little bit too much. And then CLG, like you're talking about, off of Dragon plus the chase down kill, they just denied a bunch of CS from Zeri. That was such a big dive for them. Let's take a look at it in our flip the switch replay here. Poome starts it out with the 2v1, taunting them here, getting inside their heads, playing the mental game. As soon as they see, oh, Dragon's been taken though, Team Liquid have to know. Contractz could be up here.
Look at this angle, man.
The Dragon notification is global. And Contractz just takes a blast cone into flash over the wall. Meanwhile, they make a simultaneous cross-map play with the Taliyah wall gank from Palafox.
They knew Santorin was at home and Bjergsen had just taken a recall, so they could make two plays at once, but it's definitely never expected when that happens. Like, if a dive is happening bot side, the top laner isn't also worried about getting ganked at the same time, but CLG pulled both off.
Renekton ult pop now by the Sylas. Bjergsen happy to fight this one right now. He's feeling pretty comfy, hasn't jumped into MR, so his stats are all useful and gets the wave in. Bwipo back to the top side as Bjergsen can walk mid. Of course, we did see that mid gank. Bwipo got the kill, made mid happen. Palafox dropped, so it's back to a Team Liquid gold lead, but of course, answered by the fact that CLG are up the first Drake, so a pretty close game still. Mythic in for Sejuani. Santorin just finding more Freljordian champs to play. Good to branch off the Trundle.
Yeah, he's always been such a good role player for any sort of frontline jungle champion.
Yeah.
He's going to be the main engage for this Team Liquid comp. So having that tanky Sej on the front lines is going to be a big benefit later on when they're trying to force these engages onto CLG. The problem is both CLG carries have taken cleanse this game. And let's take a look at that gank. So Santorin, once again, slips right around into the Raptor pit, right over into the face of Palafox, and it is point blank. Sejuani ultimate plus the stun. They also got the flash out.
Yeah, pretty good here, but watch out. Bwipo gets a punch, nearly kills, but not enough. However, Santorin is here again. One answered back. Nice sidestep by Bjergsen and Contractz. He's going to be signed in blood as well.
2 for 1 for Team Liquid, and that is also enough for them to run CLG off of this top side. They've got Zeri up here with Yuumi. They can take the Rift Herald.
Santorin is absolutely dominating this game, 100% kill participation, and about to pick up his second Rift Herald. It looks like they are going to lose the race for this first turret, though, so Sivir going to be getting a good chunk of gold to help counteract this play, but Team Liquid not only get the local gold from both Heralds, they'll be able to break additional turrets with the Eye.
Looking good. Team Liquid going to be about 1,000 gold at the end of this one. Pop the Eye, 2 more autos. There you go. And that's going to be claimed up there. Top lane nearly gone. New wave comes in time. Bjergsen will get this gold. 500 will add to the points right here. 1,200. Thank you very much. And it's going to keep on moving forward. Mid. Oh, just about get crack, actually. Mid is very close to dying to a Herald charge.
Yeah, and with the Dragon coming up in 50 seconds here, it's time to recall from top side, get your reset for your control wards, and move all your vision down. That's step number 1 here, set up for this Dragon, because Team Liquid actually do feel very confident right now. You know, Zeri got the completed shield bow, actually ready to play these team fights. While it is such a great scaling champion, you're actually ready to go even on shield bow completion here. So we shall see. Will Santorin have another big engage? You know, Sejuani setting up for big Yuumi ultimates could be very difficult for CLG. But like we said, they've got double cleanses on Luger and Palafox.
Blue was handed off just the very end here. Palafox grabs it and is going to be at least...
Santorin's there.
Santorin does get spotted, finds his stun. Luger cleanses, spell shields, gets away. Tackle quick for Poppy, decent damage. Blast plant will get him back into the pit, no problem there. And they're going to see a nice zap come out from the AD carry, Hans Sama. Drake is alive, but everyone's around to fight for this one. 1,100 gold lead TL, Infernal Drake spots for CLG, but item spikes the part that matters.
I like this from Luger. He moves over to try and get the mid push first. Rift Herald being used as well for Team Liquid.
Oh, this could be a really big fight if TL contests.
Contractz, they have a good ulti, goes in for the tackle, finds a little bit done here in a Bwipo who's very tanky. Extra stun comes in. Here's the punch, hits pretty well, spell shielded. And you got Yuumi coming in now as well. Bjergsen over the wall, they gotta fight. Not gonna find the root though. Who's gonna get knocked out? Is it Bjergsen? He's slow, that's gotta be an easy hit. But they hold it the entire time. They say, I'd rather have the cooldown back. Bwipo's recall is stopped. He'd love the TV back in, but now cannot, as they are burning down this Drake, and Santorin is zoned out.
Yeah, they force him off. The only thing is that the Rift Herald is going to go get a charge towards mid lane here. So Team
Kale's
Liquid
still here.
Is it gonna matter? Zap's gonna land good damage. Wall comes in for some safety. Attack over Poppy, but he's gotta run as well. It's a flash out for Santorin, but no one is hitting him. Trick goes down, but no one gets the local gold. Still, it is map pressure. It is Contractz who cannot stay with this anymore. Slowed, could be stunned, does. Nothing else gonna happen. Mid lane turret will fall to half price.
I love phase rush, baby. Charge on in, the synergy there. Palafox builds a wall for Contractz to charge him into, proc his phase rush, and then run all the way out. The whole time, by the way, the distraction was that they actually had Sivir push the bottom wave during that too. So CLG, they do get away with picking up Dragon number 2 and only losing the mid tower to the Rift Herald charge.
Yeah, and I think they were going to lose a turret to a Rift Herald at some point anyway, so I think that's a big win for CLG, managing to actually burn Bwipo's flash. They survived the Sejuani flank from Santorin and picked up the Dragon, all while having a gold deficit. I think that's a big win for CLG.
Yeah, what a funny sequence of events there. I want to compare the two AD carries items, because while we're looking at the gold at the top, of course, Team Liquid, as a team, more gold, but this Sivir has been where CLG have relied on. Luger has been eating up very well in this game. 2-item power spike for him with his early Phantom Dancer done. That is just so much, focus fire DPS here for him. See if he is going to be the one for CLG. There, he's the one that has to put out the damage in the big AoE team fights, and he is the one scaling the hardest.
Shove waves on back, and it's gonna be Palafox able to shove it up. 1-1-1 here on the Taliyah, but 900 gold in. Still a kill and decent farm on Hansama though. It's gonna be a scary Zeri as he pushes through to his Zeal upgrade. Not too far away from that one. Auto attacks on the turret doing decent damage, and Bjergsen not really willing to contest. Poome and Contractz both on their way up. This turret should be able to fall. Stays around for it, and indeed will get the gold, so 1,300 is the new gold lead for Team Liquid.
And this is also the portion of the game where Team Liquid has struggled throughout this year. They've been the best early game team in the LCS, but haven't been able to come together, win mid-game team fights, and achieve victory. They just don't seem on the same page with how they want to approach fights, or even how they want to flank to engage team fights.
Yeah, what they're going to need is for Bjergsen to become a strong split pusher here, because CLG controls so much more threat with the Taliyah wall, being able to engage on the open map like this with the side lanes down. They've got Sivir move speed with the Lulu as well to try and chase people down and move to one of these side ganks. Very, very curious to see how Team Liquid will actually handle these side pushes, because right now they've just been clumping up, moving around as 5.
Contractz sees Bwipo. He's also got a teammate around, so do they have any escapes? No flash
Help
up.
is on the way.
Shove back, get ready for everything else though, because Topwatch gets burned. There's a stun there on the Palafox, flash to safety, and evicts 2.
Whoa.
Now Santorin's left alone. Has a TP coming in for his mid laner, but a tackle comes in, and they can kill him off. He steals Renekton ulti, burns a stopwatch, but they're gonna stick around to kill him. It's gonna be enough. Poppy gets the kill, and the re-engage might look good. 5v4. When does Dhokla go in?
Whoa,
he jumps in for more, looks for the stun. A huge ult from Bwipo. The punch comes in, and it's a 1-for-1 so far. Contractz low. Is the damage done for Hansama? He cleanses, goes for Poome, gets revenge in his opposing lane. 2 kills to 3, a close fight.
Oh, you better be careful. Zeri Yuumi is on the chase here. That was a flash re-engage from Dhokla, but not onto the Zeri. He flash engaged onto the tanky champions running away. The front line, the Sejuani and the Sett, and Hansama there almost makes them pay for it. That was very, very close to devastation. Up until that point, it had been a story of poppy mechanics.
You always have to watch out for angles for Sett ultimate, but watching this one more time, it is CLG who has the original numbers advantage, and then it's Team Liquid just kind of filtering in an attempt to support him, but they never have enough damage there. It's like Bwipo can maybe reach, they get the double ejection with Poppy, and then CLG is just there first. So a very close explosive team fight as CLG tries to bounce their way back.
Yeah, Contractz, he gets them the numbers advantage by ejecting 2 with the Yuumi on it and then charges into the wall. But here's the
Watch
re-engage.
this angle
And you
that
look at
Bwipo
this.
finds.
Instead of going, for the other side, it is right into the tanks, and it's a 3-person giant AoE ultimate. Bwipo just crushing them with the counter engage from Sett. And as I said, no focus was on the Zeri, so Hansama is ripping them apart.
This is an angle for Hansama to maybe carry this game. If you look across the CLG team composition, it's just Renekton who could maybe land a stun, and Dhokla, he's in trouble.
It's going to be 4 versus 1. He knows he can't live, goes for a bit of damage, will not get the kill on Hansama. Shield will not even pop, wasn't actually close, despite how the health bar kind of got. Wasn't going to be a big issue. Now the third Drake of the game is alive. CLG got the first 2, but it looks like TL will have no problems getting this Ocean Drake.
Yeah, really good timing here from Team Liquid. I love the focus on this call. Trying to go pick off this split pusher. They know Dhokla has no flash left on this Renekton. He just used it on the engage there that they turned around. So huge rewards to Team Liquid. And Hansama continuing to scale here. 420 the score. And that is going to be the attitude here for Team Liquid, trying to pull this one back, even up the series.
Every single team fight, right? Like, he's just going to be off at the races.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you mentioned, right? Does CLG have any options to stop him? He's going to be blazing a trail through them.
Yeah, I mean, definitely going to be thinking about the flashes onto him next time around. CLG will still be able to, on the reset, push in and finish up tower, though.
You got 4 versus 1. There's no way that Santorin, despite how heroic he has been, not going to be big enough to stop that one. 9-7, the kill score for Team Liquid. Down a Drake, but up 700 gold, 900 gold. Looking very good. Dhokla going to take some farm on the side. A 1 and 4. Renekton doing the very standard build we have seen of Ruin King into Tank Mythic. Usually it's Frostfire Gauntlet. Yeah, Palafox wants a Grom. Santorin wants to push CLG off the mid lane.
Well, I agree that it's definitely a game that Hansama could carry and would be a huge confidence booster for him to have a big Zeri performance after having such poor Zeri games in the 100 Thieves series. We can't forget about Sivir. So, while he is 0-0-5, doesn't have the 4 kills the Zeri does, once he has Infinity Edge, he also has an Enchanter, and he has a bunch of melee champions that he can bounce ricochets through. So definitely, we're moving towards an 80 carries world in this late game.
Also want to point out, there's always this decision for junglers to go with the individual item, and we're going Force of Nature here for Contractz to make some engaged plays with the Poppy, or the giant team fight aura here. Frozen Heart is so effective for these team fights. When you're mentioning AD carry, DPS, differences there, the range from Frozen Heart is actually very long, so Sejuani has a pretty easy time in getting into range of Sivir, one of these short-range AD carries. To try and apply that. Not to mention Santorin have such a good game as far as his engages have been going.
So the Baron control, right now the object for TL, but with the Scuttle recently taken by CLG. Not going to have any problems with Baron setups right now, as they have the guaranteed vision that can't be swept. Santorin wants to build control work, can't quite do it. Gets shoved back, probably survives it. Yeah, the Whimsy, not much of a CC. Will delay the Q if there was one, but not going to matter much.
CLG definitely on the back foot here. You can see Sylas is able to push in the side waves. Sett has pressure on Renekton, and it's allowing TL to be first on the waves. But CLG's consistently found very creative ways to force fights from behind, and Contractz is going for something.
Saves his own stun, doesn't go for the tackle on a Santorin with a Yuumi on him, says not going to be enough damage, but here goes the attempt from the top lane, but Dhokla gets pushed all the way back. Sejuani ult burn for the play, TP down for Dhokla's Renekton.
And don't forget about Bwipo here. You left him in the bottom lane, but he comes straggling up to the team fight here, and CLG, they disperse. Teleport there from Dhokla.
Oh, careful, buddy. Gonna take a lot of damage here. Ulti's almost gonna kill him. Gets the ult out for Renekton in time. Stun, wants double dash. Bwipo could W flash, doesn't go for it. His flash was up. Maybe had a chance for it, doesn't burn the cooldown though. Bot lane wave was denied. Bwipo shoved at him before roaming. That is more gold that CLG lost.
Yeah, crucially as well, Hansama did burn flash from that Renekton teleport, so that's likely going to be considered worth it, because really CLG just need to find ways to get these next 2 dragons. They have the 1 dragon advantage, they're down in pressure, but even enough in gold. So they really need to find a way to get Infinity Edge for Luger at the same time as Hansama. If he can somehow be given every camp in the game and every free wave so he can get that item. Otherwise, I think Zeri has the item now and Luger doesn't. I think that'll be the difference if they fight now.
Yeah, there's no camps up for him right now, so he's gonna head right on over to blue buff, maybe try and soak up some minions in mid lane here, scrounge together the pieces.
He's not close enough.
Yeah, pro average is around 400 gold per minute on farming rolls if you're given decent farm. Obviously, you can go above if you're doing really well, but ultimately not going to be in that spot right here. So several minutes away, 4th Drake, 2-2. Likely for Team Liquid off of Power Spike. As you mentioned, the IE is done and won't be for Luger. And right now, TLC, okay, in the meantime, knock down everything else. Get rid of some wards, make sure Baron looks safe. Indeed, they got complete fog and start it right away.
So there is a Scryers here on Sivir, ready to use for Luger.
Well, that's a nice little bait, actually. Hansama showing on mid wave.
Like, I'm not doing it. The damage is going to be relatively so. It is Ruin King, keep in mind, for the Sett. So feels safe to tank it up, but Dhokla's like, I still want to see this. We're not seeing it on the waves. 5k health. They got to tackle the Hansama.
Oh,
he's dropping the wall dash, but he's
this is crazy.
He's going to stay alive. 2k health on Baron. Smite is claimed, and a team fight now starts. Ult comes in for Bwipo. Bjergsen on the side cannot be killed just yet. Flashed in for the shot. Not a kill, though, and that means he's delivered himself to his own grave. Goes for one, gets killed for it.
Okay, so Team Liquid have the Baron-empowered recalls to try and reset, but the Dragon's coming up already, so I think CLG will be able to get the counter prize here. Consolation is basically you get 1 kill and the Dragon for Baron. Team Liquid, they do successfully finish off the Baron. See how much they can actually get out of this Baron power play, though, because right now, counting that kill onto Bwipo, it's only barely over 800 gold here. Almost 900, the Baron power play, and CLG do get the Dragon in exchange too.
And things just get so messy for Team Liquid. They're hoping they can just distract CLG for long enough, which they technically do, but they burn Cleanse from Hansama, they lose Bwipo, they give over Soul Point to CLG. They really have to make this Baron worth it now to make this sneak a positive play.
Yeah, we'll see when we get back to live. How many towers can they actually push down? How much of this standing gold? So
it's
far,
hard against
nothing.
Sivir.
And they just get the reset, so it's gone from, 880 gold. It's basically about the same as when we went into the replay here.
Any given wave is about 200 gold anyway. You stack up the melees, the range, the cannon. It's always going to fluctuate. So we'll see what it ends up as. But yes, obviously a kill on Bwipo lowers it somewhat. A big surge of XP. I don't want to discount. That's certainly very valuable as well. It's a lot. It's going to give sometimes CoreJJ a full level as a result of that. But I still want to see what else comes into this game. 4 minutes to go until an Ocean Soul would come through for CLG.
And before that even comes up, I actually want to see one of these split map plays. I love the trailing split pusher plays where you have the other split pusher kind of hover in the fog of war and you make a quick 2 versus 1 pick attempt. Plus, there is a Taliyah in the game. Taliyah walls here, trying to...
Really big damage to the Poome. Yeah, spell should comes in. Now we got...
Contractz is in.
Yeah, Contractz behind, wants the ulti, sends out 2 yet again as we have Bjergsen coming in. Doesn't get a whole lot for it.
I mean, this game is so close at this point, and it is so important that Team Liquid, for them, close this one out. Otherwise, they risk going down 2-0 to CLG. They have the Zeri in a winning enough position, but the Dragons are not there, the gold is still close, and they have not performed well at this stage in the game. These even 25 to 30 minute games have been a weakness for TL this year.
Yeah, there's so much pressure on this team, and it's interesting the conversation you were talking about earlier too, with Team Liquid and thinking about specifically this matchup for CLG. There was an interview with Travis Gafford that had Bwipo talking about, okay, versus CLG, only we can beat ourselves. He said, referring to Team Liquid, only them being the ones that would be the reason for the loss if they lose to this team. They're really, really, really confident in this matchup and trying to focus on themselves. So you have to think about what kind of doubt would that put in your mind if you go down 2-0 in the series.
A little bit of damage back and forth. A blue smite for Contractz. Does not slow Santorin, but knocks off the passive shield. And lower armor and MR, but there's no fight to be had. Contractz told him to come back. It's only 15 seconds. He had 2 charges. 2,000 gold. Red Bull Baron power play. Pretty small overall, about 1,000. We just sit and reset and wait. The IE is in. Last whisper for both AD carries. Looks like the total gold count's really close between the two. Difference of a stopwatch, though, for Hansama, quite relevant.
I do actually really like Anathema's Chain. Santorin's gone at 3rd item, and so a lot of this gold difference, is jungle gold difference, and he's using it for some really nice utility items for the team. On top of the Frozen Heart aura we already talked about, the Anathemas, you put that thing on Luger, you reduce so much of the main force of this team fight damage, as well as giving more possibility of CC chains here if the cleanse is down.
Right, he's already got the armor, so it's going to multiply pretty well against the defensive stats in terms of not getting killed by the Sivir, but then, as you mentioned, the negative tenacity, if you can CC chain him, it's going to last absolutely forever. Minute and 15 to go until the rest of it happens. Still a very close game. Luger preempts the zap and just tanks it, but Poome can recall safely. He needs to tank it, the turret rebel, and it would stop the Lulu, so giving his homie a little bit of help as the Putrefier is in for both supports here. CoreJJ has one as well.
This dragon fight is going to be exciting. I mean, if CLG somehow steal this to get the Ocean Soul, that's going to give them the ability to push up these side lanes, because for the last almost 8 minutes, it's just been TL sitting on the side waves, quote, creating pressure, but not really doing anything with it. So now's the time where CLG has finally left their shell, and they're trying to take control of River.
All right,
40 seconds.
Yeah, Dhokla's the furthest one away. There's no deep ward for a flank.
Pull in, Contractz a bit low. Stun's gonna land on the jungle. Santorin pretty tanky, stays alive. Luger has every summoner just playing at the edge. She could spell shield something. He has a bailout Lulu. He can always flash cleanse, something else happens to him. Now he cannot flash cleanse a Sett ulti. Some of that CC is unanswerable. Bwipo takes a bit more damage there as well. Looks like he got hit with some Grievous, and it was gonna be okay. No more zap damage coming through. Palafox gonna shove out mid.
More sustain for TL, so these little trades are slightly positive to them because they have the Yuumi.
And even Hansama flashes, stays alive. Here comes the backline access. Luger to stay alive. On the front, the Bwipo flashes in, cannot find the kill, but Luger is nearly out of the fight. Zap's gonna come through, but Contractz gets the first kill of the fight. Palafox back in the front, does not feel afraid at all. Hansama, they flash combo, they got him. The stopwatch will not matter. It's CLG.
Contractz flash W's on Poome to interrupt the Zeri there. They get him on the wall. They get the soul, and the Baron is coming up as well. CLG can take it all.
Looking for a 2-0 lead in the series off a narrow 200 gold lead. House of the Dragon Soul Ocean Regen's gonna make it very easy to sit here and tank up this. And as long as they can mark Sejuani, this is theirs.
Team Liquid are praying right now. Praying to Santorin. Can he pull off the miracle? He has flash.
Bjergsen is strong.
Poome's too far up. He's in a bit of a 1v2. Bjergsen finds the first kill. They'll pull back the tank. This should be enough to kill Santorin. He's gonna jump over the wall. He will die. And now
don't have smite. They don't have
got a
smite.
chance. They're gonna burn it down anyway. The damage is still there. Luger and Contractz come through to knock down Baron. And CLG are up to 700 in game 2.
I saw that the smite was on cooldown, and I got a little spooked. But they have come back in this game.
Are these scheduled tweets left?
No,
surely not.
Okay.
That would be incredible if they just gave the login credentials to their social media manager so he could tweet as things are happening in game.
Next step.
Anyway,
That's the next step.
This catching Hansama right there first is so huge. They get the cleanse and the flash, but then they're able to actually disengage this fight. Both AD carries are down summer spells, so now it's about who can get their cooldowns back to do it again, and watch Contractz and Dhokla just waiting until Hansama steps in range.
They actually section out the team fight so well, and once they take down Bwipo, they slowly move up. Phreak mentioned it, but Luger was so low he couldn't freely auto, so it's all about these two. They flash in, and they catch Hansama for a second time in the same team fight near a wall. Contractz makes it happen with Big Dokes again.
Lord Dominic's now in for both AD carries, so 4 items in the backliners. Despite Luger being zoned out, there's plenty of damage on the other 3. And CLG came in with a great team fight victory, 11-10 in kills. Red Bull Baron power play at 2,200 right now, and looking at Bwipo, not an easy way out, gets a bunch of shields, and they won't get any kills until he comes back in. Maybe got shoved, I can't tell, but the kill comes across all the same, 12-10. 4th turret kill for CLG.
Got a bunch of kills, but CLG has a bunch of damage. Dhokla could be caught out, though.
Ulti, he'll try to live as long as he can, but there's almost no way you make it. Yeah, 1 versus 4. Decent damage, not going to happen. A trade of top laners, but CLG go for the base. Inhibitor turret's gone. Inhibitor itself should fall as well.
Palafox also has teleport, but he's gone back to deal with the bottom wave and start pushing early for CLG. Look at this tempo that they're trying to get. They want to get the early shove here on bottom side while the rest of the team finishes up with that inhibitor, and they're successfully able to get multiple areas on the map at the same time because of the enormity of the lead that they have.
Yeah, they can still use this bottom wave. Dhokla will be up in 25 seconds, does have teleport available. So CLG running through the jungle, collecting gold, getting ready to push this next wave. You saw the power of Sivir's ricochets take Hansama to 30% just in that last fight alone. So CLG is still ready to fight.
I just love how they're one step ahead. They push the bottom wave so quickly they can just transition over. The rotation from CLG from topside is seamless. Dokla's coming up and he'll have Unleashed Teleport as well. So they'll be 5 strong again.
Boom,
Okay.
200.
Okay. That was his air W.
Yep.
Gonna get nerfed on next patch.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Same Zeri all playoffs.
Appreciate it.
Well, Whether or not she's there, it is still CLG playing the better game overall. Higher KP, lower deaths here on the Sivir. Luger overall having the better series.
And just more coordination in team fights.
Yeah.
Better synergy with target selection, better frontline, even though their champions don't even have like better frontlining kits compared to the Sejuani and the Sett. So CLG, if they can close this one out, it will be a very impressive win.
Yeah, I mean, especially with this Poppy pick, this play from Contractz, where you're using some of Zeri's biggest strengths against her, and her trying to hover towards these walls and think of them as safety, but he's gotten the jump on Hansama multiple times here to get the engages for CLG that they're necessary for these team fights. You mentioned how well the front line is playing to set them up.
Ocean region making it harder as well, of course. You don't burst them, and by the way, TL's comp not terribly bursty. CLG gets a lot out of the regen here. Plenty of tanky champions. Lulu, of course, helping for those who aren't innately that big, such as the Sivir. Luger level 17 here. Doing incredibly well. Guardian Angel is done. Full build, 400 CS.
Yeah, it's actually super meaningful. Palafox going to actually section them off, and they'll just melt the tower.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be easy to do, but still happy to be in the turret. They're being engaged. They're going to try maybe. A lot of damage coming across the side. Sivir is still untouched, and Hansama loses the shield bow without ever being directly out of attack a single time. Luger doing so much more work.
That's just really impressive to me by CLG. I think most teams, when Baron is no longer on them and Elder is coming up in a minute, they're probably just pushing waves and waiting, but they find an angle there where they're able to wall people off, get a lot of damage, and they break an inhibitor with no giant buffs.
They're not done yet either. The CLG siege is brutal. Fellas, this team has been kept down too long. People were not believing that this year, this split was a true resurgence. They kept on doubting, kept on questioning if this team was really going to be good enough to take down some of the top of the LCS. And now they've got Team Liquid against the ropes in game number 2.
It has been about 7 days since CLG's last best of 5 victory. So they want to make sure that counter doesn't get too high again.
Exactly. Keep that thing low. I mean, it's just such an interesting story, too, with the majority of these CLG players all coming out of the academy system and them really being rewarded. Let's see if they can finish it off, though. One inhibitor remains, the middle inhibitor. CLG push up their super minions. They're moving down, contracting into the Elder Dragon area. Team Liquid know. All right, it's the time for the Hail Mary play. And pray.
Yeah, I mean, TL.
Just walk in, hope for the best.
Good reflexes, gets away from the seismic shove. Still decent damage on a Dhokla, but more onto Santorin. 2,500 here on the Sejuani. Contracting down to this one. Contract, though, has done so much in these team fights. Zap's gonna land, 388. Pushed back out again. Bwipo on the flank, does have flash, has everything.
Oh, he's got a lot of CLG members around him, too.
Yeah, he does. First stun to start it out there, and Dhokla's in the chase, gets the slow. A dunk buys some space, but now the squad is here, and they're gonna burn him down. You cannot live, but on the backside, they got the catch. Poome is down. Huge play by Team Liquid again. Set up by Santorin.
So no enchanter for Luger, and also has burned the Sivir.
Look at the base, though.
They might just go for it.
They don't need the Elder Dragon. They can go into the base. Team Liquid have to get back.
Everyone's gonna turn around. As long as they can force the recall, though, it means they can guarantee the rest of it. It's CLG sitting in the fog. They force one back, but Bjergsen has TP.
Oh, this is crazy. 17,000 health on this Elder. It lasts an eternity.
How much time can they buy? Because he needs to clear his waves out still and then channel the teleport. There aren't a lot of really close. There we go, over the wall. Comes teleport, coming around for this one. 4v4, stun, Santorin stopwatch buys time. Contractz to the back limit. Can he kill anyone? Oh! Gets rid of the AD carry. That means they can start to burn. A turret back onto the top side as well. But will it be enough? Hansama tackled, has to run away. The flash forward. The chase down is in. The kills come across. And CLG kill every last one. Bud Light Ace, Team Liquid are routed. It's gonna be a 2-0 start to the series.
The names are overrated. CLG activated. They're gonna take down the legacy.
We're going to game 3 off a 2-0 start. Bwipo gonna fight valiantly by himself as TL came to dominate, but CLG just did it so much better. Turret 1, Turret 2, game 1, game 2. CLG on the road to a sweep.
2-0 right in this moment for CLG. They need to win one of the next 3 to eliminate Team Liquid from the playoffs.
There is so much pressure on Team Liquid right now. So much pressure, everything put into this team, and in the lower bracket now, on the brink of elimination from playoffs.
And we were talking about how CLG was all business after that first game. You can tell there's a little bit of elation and excitement here. Hard to blame them. They need to make sure to channel that energy for focus in the next one.
Yeah, game number 1 of the series, that is one thing. You know, you mentioned it multiple times. Team Liquid, they've dropped the first game of the series, every single playoff series so far. But following it up with a game 2 like that.
Yeah, that game was very close. That was also a game where Hansama with Zeri, with the Yuumi, did have an opportunity to carry, but he could not get away from Contractz. Contractz kept finding the angles to slam him into walls, to stop him from dashing away, and CLG just fought better together.
I mean, as well, props to Luger. 0 deaths this entire game on the Sivir. Only 1 death for Palafox, so combine these CLG carries. Only single death between them, and with the front line creating so much space and making these team fights so easy for them to play. Really impressive stuff.
It is impressive. I mean, Team Liquid, we saw the stats earlier on. I think Raz was presenting them. Team Liquid is first place in like every early game stat. First blood, yep, they got that even over CLG. Gold lead, first tower, all that stuff. Yes, the early game is awesome. And they were the 3rd place team, right? CLG were 1 game behind the regular season. I mean, now they're 3-1 head-to-head, I guess. So, but they were 1-1 in the regular season against each other. So CLG have done so well to bounce back from the early game starts. TL, you'd love to see them figure out their mid game and actually close these games out because it felt like they should have been in control. We'll see if they can get it here in game 3. But match point has arrived for the CLG faithful. So while both teams ready up for game 3, we're going to join the State Farm analyst desk.
And just like that, we're sitting on series point. CLG with a solid 2-0 lead over Team Liquid. This one, though, didn't come as easily as the first. And so I think there's a fair amount more for us to dig into as we see chat showing plenty of support for the CLG squad. But still some representation for Team Liquid, probably and most accurately in their current state. I mean, TL fall down here, but not without showing us some of what we talked about has given us faith around this team. A very strong early game from them. It was CLG that had to come back from it.
Yeah, man. Whenever you see series like these or games like these where Santorin just takes over, it's beautiful to see. And it's on tanks. A lot of the times you just forget the fact that he is the type of person who's really creative and how he plays it out. So, like, I think Team Liquid definitely, at the beginning, I was like, wow, they woke up. They're ready to play. And CLG has to be able to deal with it. And it was Dhokla who was put far behind because of the early gank. And it's insane that they were still not able to win this game.
Yeah, I think what's cool about this one is CLG didn't have like an outdraft like the last pick Galio that seemed to swing in their favor. Like this was a pretty heads-up matchup. And to your point, things did not go well for them that they just like snowballed the game on Team Liquid like game 1. This was a hard-fought come-from-behind victory that like didn't just come because their draft handed them advantages.
Yeah, I actually liked Team Liquid's draft here.
Yeah, I love the Sejuani for TL specifically on red side. We've talked about how that can be a flex pick. I'm not always a fan of the jungle Sej. If there's one team that's going to play it well, it's going to be Santorin and TL, just because he's already known as a Sejuani player.
Yes. And the game started in the most classically Santorin way.
Great.
We have a couple clips, I believe, to talk about how Santorin was helpful in getting TL off to a hot start. Emily's going to make her way over to the wall.
These are very hard to run.
I was about to say, she made a mad break for it.
I know. So we'll just roll these clips. This is Santorin, as the cast touched upon, ganking every single lane. He starts off with this early level 3 gank. His first clear was red to birds to Krugs, and then up into this. You see how far Dhokla is up on the lane, and they're really easy to get this kill. And then we're gonna go mid, we're gonna go bot after this. One thing that I thought was really funny that you'll see by the bot gank is that Yuumi was attaching, like CoreJJ is attaching himself to Santorin as like the next level of like Yuumi roaming. This was a really nice counter, by the way, to Contractz going in. It was really unfortunate they didn't have the damage, and both junglers were here, so it ends up being a kill for Bjergsen, which was another presence. And then here's Santorin with the Yuumi on him. They used this several times. Whenever Santorin was setting up for ganks or skirmishes, the Yuumi would actually be on Santorin. Whenever they were setting up for kind of more 5v5 fights, the Yuumi would be on Hans for obvious reasons. And this was great. They drop Herald after this. They get so much from it. And when we talk about like Contractz finding these early angles for ganks, I think we kind of forget that Santorin is also known for this as well.
Yeah, it's insane because Santorin was well known for finding those early bot lane ganks. Of course, there's always a risk involved with it. This one was probably the riskiest one. He did a full topside clear, let the bot side basically be held as the, I guess CLG is pushing bot side. So Contractz can just invade and take his buffs, right? That could just clearly happen. So it's always a red flag where you're like, okay, this gank better work. It does. It gives Bwipo the advantage he needs and puts, honestly, Dhokla behind in a winning trade situation that Dhokla had. So, I mean, got to hand it to Santorin for how the early game went.
I'm glad you pointed that out because Contractz actually did do just that.
Yes.
Well, and so, okay, so we've established that TL was able to do what they were demonstrated they were able to do all throughout the split. But same thing, Mark, we call into question their mid-game where they struggled all split long as well.
Yeah, I think that's the crazy thing about this game for me is, okay, you had the good early game. We've seen Team Liquid struggle in the mid game, and CLG has been a team that more often than not wins because they snowball early games. And so the fact that they had a number of great team fights where they basically out front to back team fight Team Liquid, some good ejections by Contractz in these, sometimes just finding good re-engages with the use of the phase rush Poppy, where you are surprised at how quickly he can get on top of you. And he did a really good job of dealing with the front line through the first part of the fights and then finding the right time to get onto Hansama. Contractz had such a good performance in the late game.
Yeah, it's like all game long. Those ejections were so crucial. That one where he wasn't only taking the set out, but also the Yuumi along with him. And
Two for one.
Yes. And then the later fights where he was able to do basically the same thing. This was beautiful as well. Contractz had an insane game.
Well, and we talked about, by looking at some of those statistics, comparing the regular season to the postseason, the damage percentage, the damage share that ADCs are finding in the playoffs. And that's what this game came down to, as you mentioned, Mark, that front to back. And Emily, Luger, deathless. You heard Kobe say it. He's finding a way to position in these fights, get the damage out, but without putting himself in too risky a position to be taken advantage of.
Yeah, and the big thing that we have to credit Contractz for is being able to target that Zeri, right? Because you need some sort of hard CC to get on to Zeri, because you saw it. Hans was still a massive threat in a lot of these fights, and in a lot of them, it looked like he was just going to end up taking over and getting some sort of Zeri highlight.
I love that you put the spotlight on Contractz because it was exactly that kind of target selection and that kind of target finding that delivered the win for CLG and brought us to series point. Contractz on the Poppy finds the angle to attack the Zeri with the wall slam. That's the opening they need to deliver the win and the Grubhub dub.
There it is! Right here, just this play is exactly what I was talking about, where they deal with the front line first, do a good job of focusing down Bwipo early on, and then right when Hansama is beginning to split a little bit away from the team, Contractz solos him out, finds the angle, goes in there, comboing with Dhokla to get that kill.
And I think just like moments before this as well, he was completely separated from the team. So Hansama is just finding it really difficult in these fights to have that natural front-to-back interaction that they were expecting coming into this game. Great job from Contractz.
All right, we have 2 of our 3 finalists locked in for finals weekend. Order Grubhub with code PLAYOFFS LCS and earn the chance at the grand prize of tickets to the LCS Championship at the United Center in Chicago, along with other awesome prizes like Grubhub gift cards and new Rocket products on orders of $10 or more. All right, here it is, do or die time for Team Liquid, down 2-0. 3 in a row, but it's got to start here, Raz. They have side select yet again. They're going back to blue. Red didn't work for them. Red didn't work. We're rolling it back to game number 1. Blue side. What's the approach? What's the answer?
Right where it started. I feel like they're going to go back to what worked for them initially throughout the split. Go back to comfort, especially if you're on a winning situation. Mark certainly doesn't believe.
What do you mean? TL 3-2. TL reverse sweep from here. You can't believe in CLG yet.
So this
Too much faith hurts them.
This is the exact position, though, I feel like, where CLG must ban Zilean. Because this is the time. This is the time when you get a little too comfortable with the lead you've built. You let something like that through, and it becomes the catalyst for TL coming back.
Alternatively, they feel like they have a solution for it.
No.
Here's my
no.
I don't disagree with that.
That's the kind of thinking that gets you in trouble.
I am wondering if they have been tracking the Zilean, because this is, I feel like, the perfect time for TL to pull it out.
I think it's going to be difficult. If you're on blue side, and I think if you're on red side, you can get it as a third pick, and it's easier, so you don't have to deal with the 4-5 bans. If you're on blue side, you're going to get a counter pick. So I'm just a little concerned about that front.
Yeah, I think TL is going to be okay. The Santorin had a great early game. Just the late game fights got away from them. Really not worried about it at all.
Not at all.
Little Phreak action going on over there.
Going on.
Come on, put the hands together, Mark. Put the hands together. All you TL fans out there in the chat better start spamming the praise if you want the full 5. After a season of blood, sweat, and rebuilding, we find ourselves at match point already, and CLG has a question for us all. Check it out.
What's kept me faithful is how the org has cared about developing these players.
And CLG end week 1 and end week 2 in first place in the LCS.
Looking at the players, the confidence, the poise, their killer instinct.
There goes again, Palafox finds him, and Palafox finds his man. Down goes Bjergsen.
They just aren't afraid of anyone and they are down to fight all the time.
Now Jensen seeing what else he might be able to find, and it's only a tombstone. Dhokla on a killing spree. They want to go for the end of the game as FlyQuest are trying to get back to the base. Philip wants to survive, but Palafox wants to stop it. The Nexus turrets are gone.
If I don't have faith, then why am I even here?
Okay. How much for a collector's edition squishy pig with holographic cover art? I'm trying to save some cash.
You don't have to sell that. State Farm has rates that fit your budget.
Don't even look at my squish. Don't even look at it!
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.